Caloroga Shark Media.
Hey, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Couple quick jokes from late night. Jimmy Fallon said George Santos expelled from the House, and I, for one, feel better than Congress is now only filled with completely honest people. Finally, Charlemagne the God, hosting The Daily Show this week, said Santos put on his coat before the vote was even over. Let me correct myself. He put on a coat. For all we know, there's another congressman like, somebody stole my coat. Pretty good, Fallon. Santos has already joined Cameo and is charging $200 a video because that's what you want to do. Give your credit card information to George Santos. Ricky Gervais stepping up. Love this. Ricky Gervais is donating £1,910,000 to worldwide animal charities. He has split the cash evenly, says Chortle, across donations to 11 worldwide animal charities, including All Dogs Matter, Animal SOS Sri Lanka, Catastrophes Cat Rescue, Chaldon Animal Sanctuary, Dogs on the Streets, Helping Rhinos. I actually donate to Helping Rhinos. Millions of Friends, Mira Dogs, Paws to Rescue, PDSA, and Wild Futures. Gervais says, I hope the dogs, cats, rhinos, and monkeys invest this money wisely because when my career goes up, I'll need it back. Jason Ziniman writes for the New York Times. He does a great job covering comedy. He's definitely a must-follow. I saw this morning he wrote Best Comedies of 2023. And I was like, I'll mention this on the podcast. I have not looked at this at all because I like to react in the moment. Jason writes, it's time to stop taking Jim Gaffigan for granted and more surprising takeaways from special stand-up sets and other funny moments this year. Best special, according to Jason Ziniman. While he's not flashy, each year he gets a little better figuring out new challenges that fit his everyman aesthetic. With his 10th special Dark Pale on Prime Video, his comedy has become so skillful, varied, and pleasingly prickly that it demands closer attention. Now, I don't have that on my list. I have it in the not on the list category. I won't bog you down with my list today, but I have 20 things in my best of 2023, and I don't have Gaffigan on there. So it's interesting that Jason and I don't agree on that one. All this is subjective anyway. Best breakthrough, writes Jason. Beth Stilling for If You Didn't Want Me Then. Also, not on my top 20 list. I even have a note here to myself that I thought the crowd sounded sweetened, meaning they added some laughter into it. Best Storyteller went to The Domino Effect Part 2 Loss, which is Ali Sadiq's special on YouTube. He's telling high-stakes, dramatic tales of heartbreak and run-ins with the police, but with the lightness and ease of someone just filling you in about their day. Also not on my list. Fascinating here. Best Bit went to John Early for Now More Than Ever, a mix of stylish satire, soulful cover songs, and occasional observational humor. That one I do have on my list at number 19, because it was quite different. Best New Double Act, writes Jason Ziniman in the New York Times. Like many funny duos, April Clark and Grace Freud of Girl God look and sound nothing alike. One a lanky slacker, the other a more fiery baritone, but they riff so effortlessly that they seem to merge. I am unfamiliar with them. Best Closer went to Mark Maron for From Bleak to Dark. I also don't have Maron on my list, and I've been on a major Mark Maron kick lately, like big time, and that last special didn't grab me at all. Jason writes, what would Suicide by a Bat look like? Only a comedian would think that long and hard on the subject. Best Online Roaster. Jason writes, the arch-elitist Dan Rosen has created his own critical beat on Instagram, doing stylish and ruthless insult comedy on tasteless interior design, hack decor, and shallow architecture. Not familiar with Dan. Best Canadian newcomer went to Sophie Buttle. She's solid. Best take on crowd work went to Dion Cole in a Netflix set. Best response to a peeping cell phone went to Joe Pera, who responded in a deadpan, "You just ruined my life," and then kept moving. Best impression went to John Mulaney for doing a traditional Al Pacino. Best buffoon, Diane Morgan's long-running character Philomena Kunk for Kunk on Earth, which is, I think, still my favorite thing of the year. Kunk on Earth is wonderful if you should watch it. Best YouTube special, Jason writes, a highly competitive category. Never have there been more funny people putting out specials. Django Gold's folksy screwball jokes, not familiar. Chase O'Donnell's deliriously ditzy act. Seton Smith's Madison Square Garden show. And Joe List's. But Nathan McIntosh's Money Never Wakes stands out for its exasperated comic laments about the cocoon lives of the 1%. I think out of all of those, I've only seen Joe List. Again, there's just so much out there. Best comic on comic comedy, Gary Goldman's Born on Third Base, which will be out December 21st. All right, we can look forward to that. Jason says it's filled with intricate, language-drunk jokes that have built Gary into a critical darling. This is his most political and pointed work, focusing on the inequities of class. Best Gen Z surrealist, a cheerful young Arizona absurdist who's just getting started. She produces, edits, and stars in cartoonishly bizarre videos featuring milk spilling from the sky, goofy puns, jump scares, and prop humor. I'll throw this in the Facebook group. The Facebook group is Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. BJ Novak, you know him as Ryan from The Office. The Hollywood Reporter covered BJ's Chain Fest 2023, attending Mindy Kaling, John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, John Mayer, Andy Cohen, Chris Pratt, and others. Wow. The Hollywood Reporter tells us the Red Robin burger was mealy. The Pizza Hut crust didn't achieve their greasy, lacy trademark. Only Dunkin' was able to retain its sensorial qualities on site for this influencer crowd. And only Jack in the Box managed to truly complete the assignment. It upped its game with slow braised beef tacos and Chain's original Taco Perfecto sauce, which took a menu cornerstone to a striking new place. Back in 2018, BJ floated the idea for a single brick-and-mortar location called Chain. That would, aside from the name Chain being a joke itself, he said the cool thing about only having one means zoning-wise, you can put it in one of these chic neighborhoods that are all over LA or New York that won't allow a Chili's or Fridays and will only allow one-of-a-kind restaurants. You put Chain there, then everybody really just wants to go. The concept's next iteration was a sit-down restaurant in a rented home in LA. It seated about 50 people, was $65 a ticket. At one point, had a waiting list reportedly 15,000 names long. The restaurant offered no menu and no modifications. Meanwhile, at Chainfest 2023, the VIP room was called the Postmates Lounge, and there was a gift shop selling merchandise featuring slogans like, "I got sauced at Chain." Flat Hat News was speaking with Patton Oswalt. Patton explained that he got the key to the city of Athens, Georgia. They gave me the key to Athens, my first comedy album. I recorded it at the 40 Watt in Athens in 2003, so this year was the 20th anniversary, and the mayor, who's a really interesting guy, and exactly who you'd think would be the mayor of Athens, Georgia. You know, he looks like an early 80s indie store record clerk. That's what he looks like, and he's so chill and funny, and he gave me that. I should have brought it. I have a physical key to the city. Flat Hat News asked, when is the key to Williamsburg coming? Patton said, you tell me, Williamsburg, when do I get my key? Oh my God, what if I get obsessed and start collecting keys to city and it becomes my thing? Hey, you just got an offer to do the Ryman in Nashville. Is there a key to the city involved with it? Because I'll do it if they give me a key. That would be insane. I just want to collect keys. Flathead said, we'll send an email to Mayor Doug Pons on your behalf. Oswalt said, I will happily come back if there's a key to the city. You're kidding? Flathead reached out to the mayor. The mayor responded, while Mr. Oswalt may be deserved of such a recognition, the city has no such designation. From Gossip Corner, Adam Sandler was hanging out playing basketball with Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith and his family during Adam's recent visit to Salt Lake City. Adam played the Delta Center on Sunday night. Smith shared a video of his sons playing basketball with Sandler. Sandler can be heard saying in the video, boys, I can't believe we started this friendship. This is forever. LA Magazine talked to Mark Maron about what he's been eating. Mark is now a vegan, and LA Mag was curious as to his reasoning, and Mark said, well, you know, I've gone through a lot of different phases. For a while there, I had a smoker, and I smoked brisket, ribeye, and chicken. I got pretty good, but I was kind of starting to hit a wall, and I was eating a lot of fish, too. It all started to turn me off, but it really started as an experiment to see how much my cholesterol numbers were based on genetics or diet, and it definitely went down after. I wasn't missing meat. I was always sensitive to the plight of animals, but it came more so after I went vegan. I just stuck with it. My cholesterol's okay now, but my sugar went down. I feel overall better, but not that different, other than I feel a little lighter and a little less crappy waking up. Did you lose weight, Mark Maron? I did for a while. It kind of leveled off. Some people gain weight. You have to be careful. You can't base your vegan diet on nut butters and pasta and bread. You have to balance it. When I cook at home, I generally try to make some kind of vegetable in a dinner. I'll have some sort of greens, some sort of beans, some sort of grain like quinoa or brown rice. And there's also protein. Air fryers are very useful when you're dealing with tofu if you want to get that crisp bite without frying in oil. I use the air fryer a lot. Also, there should be something pickled on the plate, some sort of sea vegetable, which is, you know, an acquired taste. I try to do some Indian cooking too. I got a really good recipe for chana masala that I make at home. I started making this pasta with white beans and tomatoes. It's pretty awesome. I like to cook, and it's always exciting to find new vegan stuff. Great question here. You travel a lot for comedy. Do you look for vegan spots? Has that been hard? Maron. You can find one good vegan place in any city, and if you're there for a couple of days, you can just eat there 3 or 4 times. It's usually what I hope to do in a place that has what I'm used to, or different variations of it, or a lot of things on the menu. New topic, Mark. What's your favorite LA thing or place to go? What's your LA spot? Mark said, this place is more Glendale, but I hike up the mountain behind the Brand Library in Glendale like 3 times a week. I've become pretty attached to it. And I think my favorite LA thing in general is just performing at the Comedy Store. It's a one-of-a-kind place. Mark says he does workouts there once a week. And from the Star Observer, Mateo Lane gave a social media tour of his hometown of North Halstead, a.k.a. Boys Town, a gayborhood in Chicago. Lane was standing in front of a place called Roscoe's Tavern and said, this is Roscoe's. The floor is probably still sticky. Somebody must have spilled some beer. Looking back at his times hanging out at Roscoe, he said, I was so ignorant. Like, I guess everybody was doing drugs. I didn't know. I was drinking a vodka soda. Like, who am I going to make out with tonight? Everybody was just rolling. I just never understood, like, how are they having so much fun? Then he went by a 7-Eleven and said, this 7-Eleven would make Stateville Prison blush. The amount of stuff that went down, drug, sex, party, complete and utter chaos. He talked about the first gay club he ever went to called Hydrate and explained, when you go to a gay club for the first time and you're not exposed to anything gay, you walk in and you're inundated with everything. I remember the sign above the urinal said, no meth. And that is your comedy news for today. If you like the show, tell a friend about it. They might like it too. And if you'd like to support the show, an easy way to do that is go to buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews, buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. Throw a couple bucks in the tip jar. Today's Wednesday. I'll take your money and I'll go to trivia night and I'll buy a beverage with it while answering some questions incorrectly. See you tomorrow.